All right. Hello, everyone. If someone could be kind enough to let me know if you can hear me okay in the comments there. All right, we're going to give it not a few minutes, we'll give it a couple minutes for people to join. And if you're watching this after thank you very much, Patrick. I appreciate it. If you're watching this after the live broadcast, you can just skip the first couple of minutes to, fast forward when we start. Just going to give it, like I said, a couple of minutes for people to join. Let me just check on the status there. All right. All right, so why don't we just get going? It's been a heck of a couple of days. Wow, I don't know. I can't tell you how excited I was. Hey, Adnan, how's it going? Um, just hugely excited, and I put a couple videos up there. One prior to my pickup, where I was like, "Oh man, all these media reports and stuff that you see about the quality issues and that type of thing," and I was like, I was a little scared, but perhaps it wasn't really something I should have been that worried about because in the end, I put up another video after picking up the vehicle. Hello, Kingston. Hey, Ron. I picked up the the vehicle and it was perfect. I put up another video, where you can see I kind of go through my initial first impressions, and with that video, I got a ton of questions about the, why did I upgrade to the Model Y? What was the experience like? Did you trade it in or did you sell privately? I'm going to go through all of these questions here in this live broadcast. And I'm also going to, if you stick with me, I'm going to go through a bunch of different areas and we'll look at some pictures and I'll talk through the quality of the vehicle I received anyhow. Not to say that people have received vehicles that maybe aren't as polished as mine. So I'm not discounting that, but all I can do is go through what I received, which is absolutely fantastic. So along the way, I'm going to keep my eye on the comments that are coming in, and I'm going to try to get to your comments as I go through the live stream. And then at the end, I'm also going to allocate some time specifically for questions. So don't worry, if I don't see your question pop up for some reason, I'm going to have some time at the end to go through a bunch of questions as well. Okay, so, and I've got some new software here that I'm trying out, StreamYard, so bear with me. I think I've got it nailed down, but let's see what happens. I'm going to put up a different photo here just for this segment. And I think I have one of a Tesla store. There we go. So go back to the comments. Hello, how are people doing in Hungary? Glad you could join me. Frank asked, let me see if I can put this up here. Oh yeah, okay, there you go. Hey, Frank. So Frank asked, did I end up using a checklist? Yeah, if you do a quick Google search, there's hello, Mississauga. If you do a very quick Google search, tons of checklists that people put together will come up. So I didn't reinvent the wheel. There's a number of them out there. Some of them are very detailed, like 150 items. I really had a handful of items, Frank, that I was particularly concerned about. So, the paint quality, the alignment of the panels, and the interior. And a lot of the other stuff I'm pretty sure can be easily fixed. So it wasn't going to be something that I would not take delivery on or something like that. So that was my methodology around it. But when I got home, I absolutely went through like a surgeon, every aspect of the car. And we're actually going to go through some photos that I have as well. Hey, hi, Anna. How are you? It's good to see you. Well, I can't see you, but I see you in the chat list. So. All right, so the delivery experience, we all know that it's COVID right now. So what was it like to pick up Model Y during the heights of COVID? Because if you're in the US or here in Canada, I think just about anywhere in Europe, I think we're all pretty much in the throes of this thing right now. And so basically, what Tesla offers during this period is they call it a touchless experience. I'm not exactly sure how touchless it was, but we still had to go inside. Someone had to come and get us and then take us out to the car. And all the paperwork, though, was inside the car. So I guess that part you could call it touchless. And so my wife and I sat in the Model Y and we completed all the paperwork. Then I went and I did an inspection around the car to make sure that there wasn't anything in those top three categories that I mentioned that I was concerned about. Let's see here. So the what do we call it? Delivery specialist, I guess. The delivery specialist, really nice guy. I was so excited though that his name didn't sink in, so I didn't commit that to memory. But if you're out there and you're watching and you're the person that did the delivery, thank you. You were awesome. But it was really funny. At one point, it was so windy during the pickup, and when I was handing over, thank you very much, Tomas. It was so windy that when I was handing over the paperwork, the bank draft, the wind caught the file folder, and a couple of papers in the bank draft go flying, and I'm literally chasing the bank draft through the parking lot with the wind kind of just blowing it away. And so yeah, that was a little bit of excitement. But as far as the delivery experience, it was pretty much touchless. Now, one of the things that people have asked me, and it kind of relates to the delivery experience, is about whether or not I traded in the vehicle or whether I sold it privately. So I traded it in. I did not sell it privately. I thought it might be pretty hard to sell privately right now during where we are with COVID. So I did not do that. I traded it in. And I'm not sure if I'm allowed to tell you exactly what they gave me for my 2018 Model 3 long range rear wheel drive. It's a mouthful. I don't think I can tell you exactly what they gave me, but let's just say it was somewhere in the mid 40,000s Canadian dollars. So I think I can say that. That'd be a pretty good ballpark if you're thinking about it. So PS Gadgets, the checklist, I just looked at a few. I just Googled and downloaded a few. When this video gets posted, I'll go through. I'll just put a couple of links of some of the ones that I looked at. Some of them were very detailed, but you definitely want to go into your pickup having a plan, right? You know what you're going to look for, and you know what the things are that would cause you to say, "Hey, I'm refusing delivery today." Right? To me, that's kind of the key, because there's hundreds of things that after the fact you may find, I don't know, maybe a rubber seal or something like that, or a gasket around the door that needs some adjustment. You're not going to refuse delivery for that, but you might refuse delivery if your hood, is out of alignment and whacked, or your paint is half-ass done. Can I say half-assed? I don't know. Okay, you know what I mean. So yeah, so I'll post a couple of the checklists that I used earlier. So I'm going to take a pause. I'm going to take a little bit of a pause and just keep my eye here. And are there any questions about what the delivery experience was like during COVID, as far as picking up your vehicle? Anyone have any questions about that? Or did I cover it okay? Okay. I think, yeah, okay, thank you very much. So I think people are here maybe to see some pictures and talk about the quality. Okay, let me take a look and see in my agenda here what I have next. So we actually talked about the trade-in experience and process. Well, I didn't talk about the process too much. So the process was actually very simple and very easy. And oh, did I have contact with people? Yes, it wasn't truly contactless. There was some contact, but all the paperwork was done inside my car. So yeah. Did I feel pressure to complete my review? Absolutely not. That's a really great question. And yeah, let's talk about that for a moment. So the staff at Tesla were basically like, you take all the time you need. I'm going to go back wherever it is I go back to and do my paperwork or whatever. and you just take whatever time you need to make sure that you're happy with the car. So I did not feel any pressure at all in terms of completing that review. Saw another question up here about, let's see here. Let me show this one. Okay, what did I do with my Model 3? So I traded it in, as I mentioned, and I was just talking about the trade-in experience. So that question actually is well timed. So basically what happens is you go to, there's a URL that you go to at Tesla, and you if you're signed into your account, it pulls in some information. You select which vehicle that you're trading in, and then they get back to you within 24 hours with a quote, which they did. And as I mentioned, I can't tell you the exact figure, I don't think, but it was somewhere in the mid 40,000s Canadian, and I was quite happy with that. To be honest with you, maybe I could have gotten a few thousand more, selling it privately, but what's that worth to you, right? If you can kind of get what you need from the trade-in. Did I get any other estimates for my Model 3? No, I didn't. But I did take a look to see, what they're reselling for. So I looked at some of the, I looked at the Tesla site. I looked at, what's that car site? Auto Trader. So, I looked at a few different sources to get an idea of what I think it would be worth. So, I'm quite happy with what I got. I mean, everybody would love to get more, let's be honest, right? But I'm fairly happy with what they offered me. Compared to the quote that I got on our Model X, we also have a 2017 Model X, and I found that the trade-in value of the Model 3 was actually much better, considering the level of depreciation that they were suggesting on the Model X versus the Model 3. So very pleased with that. As far as dropping the car off, it was very easy. I basically handed over my 2 black credit card keys, and that was done. And somebody took my red Model 3 away. So yeah, that's basically it. All right, let's move on to the next topic. And if I didn't get to your question, I will try at the end, obviously, to stick around and do some more questions. Here's actually, this one's a really great question from Frank. So with trade-ins, about the vehicle tax, yes, you only pay tax on the difference. So that's one of the compelling reasons, I think, to trade your car in at the dealer, because you're then only going to be taxed on the difference. It saved me about $5,000. So that's a decent amount of change. I'll take the 5,000. So if you factor that in versus the private sale, I don't know. I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with what I got. Okay, let's see here. Let's move on to, we did the what to expect at delivery. And all right, let's start looking at some pictures here of the car. Let me get this teed up for you. And I think we're going to look at the passenger side first. Let me tee that up. Okay. Let me go back to the comments. I'm just going to go through looking for questions here before we move on to this section. Did they remove the 3 off your phone app, or do you have to do it manually? This is another really good question. I wasn't sure what was going to happen here. So what happens is that while you're doing your inspection and your review of the vehicle, there's a message on the screen on the inside that says that it's something to the effect that it's delivery. It's in the delivery process, right? And what happens is once you sign everything and you say, okay, yes, I'm good, they go back and they do something and they change the status from delivery to whatever the status is after that. I guess, car's been sold or whatever. And the screen on the inside of the Model Y rebooted a couple of times. And after it rebooted a couple of times, it showed up in my app. Now, there is something that I had to do. I had to log out of my app and log back in. So I'm not sure if that was because I was having some kind of a glitch, But until I signed out and signed back in, that's when the Y showed up and the Model 3 was gone. So they took care of all of that. Pretty seamless. All right. Thank you, Sandy. I appreciate that. That's the purpose of me wanting to do this live stream, because it's interactive versus just posting a video. So I'm here. I got time. I'm going to answer all your questions here today. Let's see. We got another question came in. Do you have any upgrades ready? A nose wrap, a nice mitt protector. Yes. More video content. Yeah, absolutely. So I usually don't do PPF, but that being said, I think we're going to have this car for a while, and I might do the front anyhow with PPF. I'm probably going to get the driver and passenger side tinted to match the rear, which might be illegal where you are. Matter of fact, I think it's illegal where I am. But I've been doing it all my life. I've never been pulled over. So I'm probably going to get those front windows tinted. What else am I going to do to it? I don't know. I need to sit back and think. Obviously, I'm going to want to do some interior, some maybe aluminum, nice aluminum brake pad, accelerator pedal thing. I don't know. My car actually came. I got most of the new things that I thought I was going to get, except for it still has the piano lacquer console. I didn't get the new console, so I'll probably put like a matte black wrap or something like that on the console. This is another really great question, and I think I have a good answer if you traded in your Model 3 for a Model Y. So I couldn't find Model Y mats anywhere. Everybody is sold out. So I don't know if that's because they didn't anticipate how many in production they were going to need, but I couldn't find any anywhere. Yeah, I couldn't find any anywhere. Anyways, man, that's a tongue twister. So what I ended up doing is I said, you know what? I think my Model 3 mats are going to fit. And guess what? They fit. So just a little tip for you: if you're trading in your Model 3 during winter and you can't get mats for the Model Y, use your Model 3 ones. We got somebody getting their Model Y this week with a VIN number of 795. My VIN number is in the 735 range. So they're really pumping them out this quarter then. That's really interesting. Okay, let me go through this quickly. Those are the floor mats. Yes, Falcon wing door. Okay, so this is right here. So Sandy has a 2019 Model 3. Thinking about getting a used 2016 Model X. I actually did a video about this because we have a 2017 Model X, and I did should you get a used Model X or a new Model Y? So if you look through my videos, you'll see it there, Sandy, if you haven't seen it already. The Falcon wing doors, to this day, if I go out to a parking lot or something like that, even during COVID and those Falcon wings come up, people come over. I mean, they keep their distance right now with wearing a mask and whatnot, but it still attracts attention. So I love the Falcon wing doors. Okay, Taptez mats. You know what? I kind of fell out of love with Taptez. The mats I got from them last year for my Model 3, I mean, they were good, but I couldn't get another season out of them. They warp really kind of weird. So I don't know. I probably would go for something maybe a little bit more expensive and something a little bit higher quality. Okay. Here's a great question. We are way off the agenda, but I don't want to be a talking head anyway, so this is great. Is the new Model Y noticeably faster than the Model 3? So it depends on which Model 3, obviously. So if you look at my old Model 3, which was a rear-wheel drive, it's noticeably faster than the rear-wheel drive, especially when you think about the the instant torque, and there's more of that getting thrown back into your seat feeling with the Model Y. Also, too, I noticed in my app that I can uncork the Model Y and get an upgrade that gets me to 4.4 seconds to 100 kilometers. So, that's something that I can also do. But yeah, it's definitely noticeably faster. Hey, Vince. Is it Vince or Teresa? If you're both watching, hello, both. Let's see. Yes, I did trade in my Model 3. Let's see here. Got another question. Oh, hey, hello from Waterloo. So yeah, that'd be a great upgrade to your 2017 Volvo for sure. Oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate this. I definitely try to be global, but I do have that Canadian slant, eh? So glad to be able to do that. Hey, Vince. Okay, so it's not the both of you; it's just you. Okay. Let's see. Next question. What's your range at that VIN? I got lost in the updates. So the range, I think it was 529 kilometers, whatever that is in miles, if somebody can do the conversion. So, but I've always said that since the Y came out, that Elon and Tesla are sandbagging. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get some goodies in terms of range increases over the next 12 months or so. They did that with the Model 3, and I suspect they'll do that again with the Model Y. And for us Model 3 owners at the time, it was retroactive, if I could say that. So everybody got it. I think that's going to happen with the Y. All right, so where were we when we got off on that tangent? Okay, so this is the passenger side, and one of the things that, let me see if I can make that a little bit bigger for you. So one of the things that I wanted to make sure that I did, oh, let me see, can I do that? Yeah. So I want to make sure that the panel gaps in alignment were good. They didn't have to be perfect for me, but they had to be good. And I actually ended up with pretty perfect. The uniformity of the panel gaps, the fit and finish, I couldn't be happier. I've owned a lot of cars in my day, and there's certainly nothing wrong with the fit and finish on this vehicle. Let's see here. Did you get self-driving? And I apologize if I missed some. The questions seem to be scrolling pretty fast here. Did you get the full self-driving or just included autopilot? I got the full self-driving. In Canada, the price increase hasn't happened yet because the full self-drive beta hasn't been released here in Canada. Elon, if you're watching, I'd like the hashtag full self-driving beta Canada. I think that's what Mother Frunker calls it. So I wanted to buy it because it's going to go up. And it's I'm glad you asked this question because it's a really interesting conundrum, right? Because, 10,000 Canadian in arounds, that's what it costs. That's not chump change. I mean, that's a pretty good chunk of money. And I know that from a resale perspective on my Model 3, which also had full self-driving, I don't think on the trade-in I got the value for it. I'm not sure if I would have selling it privately either. It seems to be one of those things where it's got a very high entry cost, but then on a resale, I just wasn't seeing it in terms of that level of value. But that being said, I'm a tech guy, and sometimes that drives my decisions. And I wanted to have the full self-driving just because of the tech geek in me. So yes, I did buy it. What's been my experience driving in the winter? That's also a really great question. And previously with the Model 3 rear-wheel drive, I know a lot of people are sometimes concerned about the rear-wheel drive model, but I got stuck maybe twice in the almost 3 winters with that car. And both times I got stuck doing something stupid because I was doing a video. So most people wouldn't get into that situation. And the thing is too is that there's a feature called slip start, and both times slip start easily got me out of that issue. So driving a Tesla in the winter, even a rear-wheel drive one, it's a fantastic experience. I've got nothing, no critique of it at all. I think it's probably the best of any manufacturer out there. Let's see here. Next question. Am I going to use the Aero wheel covers most of the time? And will I get the lug nut covers for the alloys? So yes, in the wintertime, I always use the Aero wheel covers, always did with my Model 3 as well. And in the summer, I think the rims underneath are quite nice, and I just get that center cap piece, and I think it looks great. Winter tires. So no, I have not got winter tires yet. And the reason why is right now there's kind of a lack of supply of winter stuff for the Model Y. And also during COVID, I don't know, we aren't doing much driving. And if we have to go out driving, we have our 2017 Model X, which has winter tires on it. So it hasn't been a priority for me. But certainly, hopefully things will be back to normal by next winter, and I'll definitely get winter tires on it. Okay, does it feel like you're getting into an SUV? Is the Y that much higher than the 3? Yes. I would say it's, someone else asked me this question, not on a live stream, and the way I would describe it is if the Model X and the Model 3 got together and had a baby, and then you end up with the Model Y. So it's like getting into a mid-size SUV. It might be actually a little bit taller than a mid-size. There's enormous amount of headroom on the inside. So the two things that I first noticed on the inside were, wow, the interior volume of the space is so much more than the Model 3. And I think that's because of the higher roof line as well. And the second thing that I noticed when I started driving is that there was no wind noise. It's got the double pane glass on the passenger and driver's side. And that was one of my main kind of issues with the Model 3. I loved it to bits, don't get me wrong. But man, it had a seriously high interior volume when you're flying down the highway. And yeah, it was tough to do videos in that car because the audio, I always struggled with it. All right. Let's see here. Let's put up the next question. What was the most important maintenance aspect that Tesla owners should do on every annually or every 2 years? Brake maintenance. So, when I first became a Tesla owner with the Model X, Tesla still sold the annual maintenance packages. And if I recall correctly, maybe 18 months, 2 years ago, Tesla kind of came out and said, well, these aren't required anymore, so we're not even going to sell them. And so I think, yeah, I mean, your brake maintenance, maybe get them cleaned every couple of years. Some people do it every year. But there really isn't much maintenance, to be honest. I've had the 2017 Model X now for just over 3 years, and we haven't really done any maintenance on it, to be honest with you. So it's one of the bonuses, I guess, of any EV. Really, there's just a lot fewer parts, and the maintenance costs are much lower. All right, let's see here. Can you notice the difference between the Model X shock absorbers and the Model Ys? How's the ride quality compared to the Model X? My wife and I were just talking about this very question today. And the Model Y is, I would say, 95% on par with the Model X when it comes to the ride quality and the suspension. It's really leaps and bounds ahead of what I had with my Model 3. Now, my Model 3 was a 2018, so I don't know if the newer ones coming off the line are better, but definitely the ride was a little harsh, if I can call it that, in the Model 3. But Model Y is right up there with the Model X in terms of its ride quality, I would say. I kind of like the slope design myself, personally. Yeah, I like it, but it's at a sacrifice of interior volume. But I do like the design. Oh, here, let's see. How does the premium audio quality sound compared to the Model 3? I would say that they are comparable. I think it's better in the Model Y because of the double pane glass on the front and passenger side. So when you're traveling down a freeway, you don't get that road noise, killing your very highs and the very highs and mids. I don't know. An audio analyst can speculate on that, but I just say the sounds better because there's less noise, if that makes sense. But I'm sure they're comparable from a technology perspective. Okay, I just have the stock wheels on it, so I haven't done anything else with that. I don't know if I'm going to get different rims. I kind of like the rims, as I mentioned earlier, and I'll just put a center cap on them. Am I going to go down to the 18s for the winter? I don't think so. I think I'm going to stick with the 19s. I think the Model Y has sufficient range. Plus, with the heat pump, I'm not so concerned about range in the wintertime with the Model Y. Okay. No, I'm not going to lose the aero wheel covers. I'm going to keep using those. Is the Model 3 quieter compared to the Model X? Sorry. Is the Model Y quieter than the Model X or compared to the Model 3? And I'm reading that backwards, but the Model X, surprisingly, it's quieter than the Model 3. But the Model Y is quieter than the Model X, if that answers your question. I think I fumbled that one a little bit, but I think I got there in the end. The Model X does not have a heat pump. However, the Model X does have a battery heater. So from a preconditioning perspective, it works a little bit differently. Okay, let me see. Where are we? I prepared an agenda. But like I said, I prefer having a conversation than being a talking head. But let me just see what I did have next. Oh, you know what? Let's talk about the hood here, because specifically, I had a challenge with my Model 3, and it was one of the first things that I was looking for when I was picking up. If you see the line, on the hood, I tried to capture it with the camera, but the gap is perfect. Whereas in my Model 3, the gap was it got skinnier at the top, and with my Model 3, the hood was lower than the quarter panel by, I don't know, maybe a quarter an inch, right? So that was kind of the first thing I checked to make sure that the hood looked like it was on correctly. And to my delight, the hood is perfect. Matter of fact, the alignment is on par with, as far as I'm concerned, best in class cars. At least this particular vehicle. I don't know, about other ones that are being delivered, but I can tell you that mine, I'm super satisfied with the gaps. Okay. So no, I do not have the thumb drive, and I was surprised. I thought we were going to get the thumb drive in the glove box, but with a 73,500-ish VIN, I did not get that feature. Someone mentioned earlier that they're getting a 79,500. I'd be very surprised if they didn't get it, but I did not get that thumb drive in the glove box. So sad face. Would I say that the Model Y is worth the extra money versus the Model 3? Cargo space, 7-seater. So this question is it's very individualized, right? So if you're, a single person and, you're not carting around a lot of people, or you're not transporting sup boards, or, you're mounting hiking equipment or whatever, then yeah, it's perfectly fine, the Model 3 in terms of size. If you do a lot of sports where you carry equipment around, you have kids, endurance sports and that type of stuff, then the Model Y is noticeably bigger. And to us, it was worth trading in and getting that extra space. Matter of fact, that was the primary reason that my wife and I decided to trade in the Model 3 for the Y, was so that we could get more interior space. So um, that's that's my personal opinion of it, but individual results may vary. um, Okay, it's interesting to hear all the noises come from the car as it charges. Any idea all the things that it's doing? Well, there's a few things going on. You've got a fan that's making sure that the battery is kept at the right temperature. Some vehicles, and this is fairly normal, will hear a like a pinging type sound. When things get hot in around the battery, some metal pieces might expand. That's perfectly normal if you hear that. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's there's a lot going on when it's charging, but it's nothing to be concerned about. Okay, somebody's returning their 2021 Model 3 tomorrow. Do you want to throw another message in there and let us know why? Was it not up to par in terms of the quality that you were looking for? We'll see if we get a follow up on that. Do I have any idea what Tesla does with trade-ins before selling them? My understanding is they use a third party, so they sell them to a third party who then um, does whatever maintenance or fixes that have to be done on them, and then they're resold, I think, on Tesla's website. But I don't think that Tesla actually takes ownership again. I think they just outsource that to a third party. I think what's his name? Rich Rebuilds did a video on that. He had a heck of experience buying a used one, and I think that was part of the reason, was that Tesla kind of just farms it out to a third party. Let's see here. I'm having delays with my trade-in. Maybe they do not want my Fiat 500 Turbo in perfect condition. Yeah, I don't know. My experience is they seem pretty eager to get my trade-in. So I was very happy with the trade-in process. Was I eligible for any of the government rebates? No. I don't think there's a version of the Model Y in Canada that's eligible for the rebates. I think just the Model 3 standard range, if I recall correctly. I live in Ontario. Now, if you live in a different province, that might be different for you. So I don't get the federal, and we don't have a provincial one. Now in BC, and I would imagine in Quebec, I think in Quebec you have a very generous program. I'm sure if you live there, you'll do very well as far as a rebate goes. Were we thinking about Model Y for a while? Yes, we've been thinking about it for probably a year, and we didn't pull the trigger. I had a very early production Model 3. It was like 29,000 VIN, and I wanted to wait until it was at least 50,000 plus. Just because I know that any manufacturer, this is not just Tesla, but when you start a new production run of a new vehicle, you're going to have some challenges, right? And some of them are well documented. So we decided that we weren't in a hurry and that we would just wait until there was at least 50,000 Model Ys on the road. So that's what we did. Oh wow! In the UK, they go straight to trade. Okay, that's interesting. It must be different by country then. Okay, let's take a look at another picture here. Let's go on to. Let's take a look at the. Let's take a look at the back here. All right, and so here on the back again, I think that the the fit and finish also is very good. The panel gaps, because of the camera angle, I mean, it looks like they might be a little bit bigger on the right hand side. That's just because of the camera angle. They're actually very uniform. Very happy with how the back side of the vehicle looks. Yeah, it's got a nice butt. Okay, let's take a look at the front here. Let me just tee that up because I want to talk about the front, especially if you're coming from a Tesla Model 3. Okay, we won't be talking about the front because I did not put that picture up. But what you need to know about the front is that the front is definitely bigger in the Model Y than the Model 3. It's fairly deep, definitely wider than the Model 3 as well. So very pleased there. Let's take a look at the inside. And I'll just talk about the experience there a little bit. So, I mean, if you've been in a Model 3, you've been in a Model Y. The interior is pretty much identical. I did not get the upgraded console. As you can see, I still have the piano black lacquer. However, I was very pleased that it did come with the integrated wireless charging. And this is also something I'm very thrilled about, is that the iPhone 12 Pro Max actually fits and it does charge in the Tesla OEM wireless charger for the front. So that was good because it wasn't fitting in my Model 3 one. Okay, let me catch up on some questions here. Okay, I wanted to get back to this. We have a viewer saying that they were returning their Model 3, misalignments, heat pump does not work, glove box did not open, waiting for Model Y instead. Yeah, I mean, that's unfortunate. I think any manufacturer, will probably have a story around some of their vehicles being built on a Friday, as we used to say back in the day, right? It does happen. So hopefully you'll have a better experience with the Model Y. How long was it to wait between ordering and delivery? When I ordered, the timeline that Tesla stated was 4 to 6 weeks, and it was closer to 4 weeks than the 6 weeks. Matter of fact, it might have been bang on 4 weeks. So I was quite happy with that. I think maybe they might be trying to underpromise and overdeliver, so, which is always nice. Does the Model Y have the one-piece rear casting yet? I don't know. That's a really good question. I have heard about this change. I'm going to have to go and explore that in a little more detail. I'll make a comment once this video is up on YouTube, and I'll let you know. Are you required to have a front license plate in Canada? Oh my God, yes, we are. It ruins the lines. It really ruins the lines. But yeah, if you were here at the beginning, I had mentioned about I'm going to get the front windows tinted to match the rear, which technically is kind of illegal, but it's not enforced. I've been doing this for 20, 30 years, never been pulled over. But if you try driving without a front license plate, I think the chances are you're going to get pulled over. So that's one thing I have to sacrifice. I have to put one of those on. And I just went with the one that Tesla has. I mean, I don't think it looks that bad, to be honest with you. Any of them are going to look not as good as not having one. That's an awkward sentence. But I was perfectly happy with the one that Tesla gave me. All right. Let's move on. Okay, somebody else here is ordered on the 18th. Delivery was December 15th. Oh, now it's December 7th. So that they are under promising and over delivering, David. So that's fantastic. I mean, as a buyer, I mean, you certainly feel better when they do that, even if they could have told you in advance a shorter time frame, but then they didn't make it. So I think that's okay by me. I like feeling good. Does the steering wheel feel? Oops. Does the steering wheel feel different? Uh, yes, it definitely feels different than the Model 3. And rumor has it that the new steering wheels are heated, just pending a software update. This is going to make my wife very happy. She really loves the heated steering wheel. So, knocking on wood, that's just going to be a software upgrade. But otherwise, it's very hard to tell. Somebody mentioned. I think it might have been Darren from Drive Tesla Canada, that you can tell by the stitching on the steering wheel. So you go to Drive Tesla Canada, and I think he has an article there about it. Let's see here. Okay, charging rate. Yes, the charging rate. First time I charged it was last night, so I was looking out for this. So I have the Tesla wall charger, and it charges at the 12 kilowatt hour. Yes, rate, and 12 kilowatts. I always get turned around with my energy consumption versus energy storage. So someone can help me in the comments here. But yes, it charges at the same rate as the Model 3. Oh, you guys don't need. Oh, this is really interesting. So no front license plate in Quebec. That's what I love about the Quebecois is, you guys. I don't know. You don't take what. So that's awesome. That's awesome. I wish we didn't need it here in Ontario. How did you decide to get paint protection? Do you have it on your Model X? Do you have paint damage? So in my entire life, I have never done PPF. I've always been opposed to it. The reason being is that I never held on to my cars long enough to get the value from it. And I always thought that the acquisition cost of putting the PPF on was very high. So I've never done it. Maybe I've been burned once or twice, but my Model 3, after almost 3 years, looked great. I did a video on the paint job. There was no PPF on it. Our Model 3 Model X has no PPF, and it's still looking pretty good too. So, but we might do the Y. I am thinking about it because I do think we'll have it for a long time. It might actually get handed down to my kids or something like that eventually. So we might do it. Kilowatt is the charging rate. Thank you. Okay, here's a question. If I let my mom borrow my Y once a week, should I have her download and use the app? Would I let my mother do that? I think that's a very individual question. I would certainly feel comfortable with my mother having the app. I might put in the password for her though, if that's helpful. But just keep in mind that once you do that, she'll be able to track you. So I'm not sure how you feel about that. That would be the only downside. But you can always change the password. Which streaming music service do I use? Okay, this is, I've had a love-hate relationship with Spotify. And I generally use Apple Music because my entire family uses Apple products and we have the family plan for Apple Music. So I would really love if one of the Christmas surprises that Elon has up his sleeve is an Apple Music app for the Tesla. In the meantime, though, I do have Spotify right now as well. And ever since the update a few weeks ago that improved the UI for Spotify, I've really been enjoying it, and it also has the podcast now. So yeah, I might actually stick with Spotify, but it's just hard to pay for a service that you're already paying for, right? Because I'm always already paying for that Apple Music family plan. Okay. Does Model Y have heated rear seats? I upgraded my Model 3 to the rear seat. You know what? I have not checked that out yet. Does anybody here know? Please, in the comments, let me know too. Does it have the heated rear seats? I do not know the answer to that question. Hey, Mitchell, good to see you. Let's see here. Yeah. Also, just back to the app question, you can always loan the car key, and they can use it without the app. So that's a great alternative if you don't want your mother tracking you in this in this example. This is okay. Thank you for putting this in, David. I was curious about this. So at 73.5, I do not have the new center console. So maybe people ordering today will actually see that. Yeah. So Mitchell, you're a believer in the PPF. I like having perfect paint too, but God, I don't know. Like maybe in the US, it's not as expensive as up here in Canada, but to do just the front is between 2,500 and 3,000, between 4 and 5,000 to do the entire car. So, yeah, that's a lot to get over. I'm generally on. I would say well, my wife would definitely say I'm on the cheap side. So I don't know. I can't get over the cost of installing that stuff. Is Tesla the best car to invest in? Okay, this is a different question. Here's how I feel about it. And like most people out there, I mean, I've had many different cars in my lifetime. And when I was driving the Model Y yesterday, I really felt that for the first time, I understand the current valuation of Tesla. I can't imagine any other manufacturer coming close to what Tesla has done with the Model Y. Just about in any category you can imagine. It's just that great. It's so solid. It drives so beautiful, and it has the best tech that you'll see in any car anywhere. So, yeah, I think it is the best car to invest in, whether you're investing in the Tesla stock or just buying a car. And the other thing too is about depreciation. Hey, Dax. The other thing is about depreciation, right? So I really believe that the Teslas are going to maintain their value better than any other comparable ICE vehicle today. I think in 2-3 years, maybe as long as 5 years out, but certainly at some point in time, having a gasoline powered vehicle is probably going to hurt your resale value. That's just what I believe. So, okay. Apple CarPlay would be nice, wouldn't it? Let's see here. Yes, we did not have a loan on the Model 3, which made it very easy to trade in. So let's see here. Oh, so all 5 seats are heated. There we go. We have an answer. See, I did not know that. I have not been sitting in the back seat. So that's good to know. Okay. This is great. I love getting all these questions. I was worried that no one was going to show up to this. So let's see here. Can you describe the difference, if any, in picking up the Model Y versus the Model 3? Well, I think because it's really hard to say because of COVID. Obviously, that was the biggest difference. But if you look at the Model 3 delivery process versus the Model Y, I still think there would be a difference, because when the Model 3 came out, they were doing deliveries in the thousands per day. As a matter of fact, when I picked mine up, it wasn't at a Tesla service center or store. It was at an international center, like where you have conventions. So it was kind of weird. So I think that maybe they're able to handle larger volumes or something. But my understanding is that the deliveries for the Model Y, at least around where I live, are actually happening at the stores and service centers. So Tesla stock is the Tesla stock is the best Tesla investment vehicle. You know that's there's been articles about this. I saw one recently, and I think my buddy Dax, who's I saw him here as well. I was on his podcast, and I think we talked about this where somebody in 2012, if you were to take what you would have, the money you would have spent on a Tesla Model S and invested it, it would be worth something crazy like $5 million or something today. So there's definitely some merit in what you're saying. Let's see here. Oh, someone got the Excel put on their Model Y. Looks like you did it very early. Luxury, and it was USD 1700. See, that's pretty good. Yeah, us Canadians, our money's not worth much. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I think we might have been there the same day at the airport. I know there's actually a lot of people, like when I did my Model 3 delivery and it was done at that international center in Toronto, that convention center, I met a bunch of people in line, that to this day, like they'll come up, so, I don't know, I'll see them somewhere or something, and it's kind of cool. Okay. This is very true. The best shops charge quite a lot of money, and you get what you pay for. I think that's what Mitchell is saying here. The free sandwiches. Oh yeah, I remember that. It was quite an experience. Satin gray Tesla. Good to see you, my friend. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Oh, anyone else wave at Tesla drivers while driving? I think it's like code for great purchase. I'm guilty as charged. I usually wave. I'm a friendly guy though. If I'm not sure if there's anyone out there who's knowledgeable about this, I have no idea. I've heard ceramic's pretty good, but I don't know if it's better than PPF. Okay, let's see here. Do I have any other? Let me just check to see if I have any other pictures that I wanted to go through. No, I think I covered. Oh, wait, we didn't see this one. Okay, so this is the rear seat, and not only is there more headroom in the Model Y, but I'm pretty sure there's more leg room. It just feels like there's a lot more space back there. And again, the fit and finish, the quality is very, very good. I didn't notice any issues at all with any of the rear seats or headrests or the doors, the seals around the doors. I checked everything. Everything looks really, really good. The vegan leather in the Model Y, and I'm sure the newer Model 3s as well, it just feels so soft to me compared to what I have in my Tesla Model 3. So I really think they did a great job with these seats, and they're pretty comfortable too. Let's see. Am I putting a screen protector? I didn't put one on the Model 3. I don't use a screen protector on my phone. I'm kind of anti-screen protector, so I probably won't do that. I just like the feel of the glass and having nothing in between, the glass and my finger, if that makes any sense. Okay, we might have an answer here. PPF is generally better since it offers physical self-healing barrier between the environment and the paint. I have heard that for sure. Oh, wow. Anyone want to do it themselves? We got Black Friday sale here. Okay, so let's see here. I think I've covered everything that I wanted to cover. We are coming up in around the hour mark. So I just want to throw it out there to anyone still watching, and thank you for spending your time with me. If you have any final questions, please, by all means, let's go through them. I got time. Let's do it. All right. Let's see here. Great chat. Thanks, Vince. I appreciate that. Okay. Yeah, I have heard this, Dax. That there's an art to it, and you need some experience to be able to do it properly. So, um, yeah, it's not something I would undertake myself. I'm I'm not good at that kind of stuff. Thanks, Mitchell. That's very kind of you. That's very kind of you. I really do appreciate that, and obviously, I really appreciate if you hit the sub button and click the like. It really helps out us YouTube creators. Uh, I love doing this, and I thank all of my viewers for giving me the opportunity to do this. It's I love doing it, so it's my pleasure. Well, thank you very much. This is very, very, very kind of you as well, and yeah, thank you. Did Tesla inspect your car on site before trading it in? I was watching out for this, and I don't think they did. So, what I did is I made sure, like the first thing when my wife and I got out of the Model 3 is pulled my smartphone out of my pant pocket and I did a very detailed video so that if anything ever came back, I could pull the video out. Because you don't know, like they drive it out back and I don't know, somebody hits a fire hydrant. Right. So I definitely recommend if you do a trade in to make sure you take a good video of your car before you leave it. Yes, I did buy the FSD. It's the tech geek in me, but um, that's something I need. It's not a want; it's a need. Winter tire discussion. So the ones that come stock with the vehicle are so-called all-weather. I believe they have the M+S moniker on them, which stands for mud and snow. That being said, I personally believe there's no substitute for real winter tires. So we haven't done that yet, but we do have our Model X that has winter tires if we need to venture out during some um, bad conditions. And I really need to get sorted what I'm going to do with the winter tires on the Model Y. Let's see here. The 20s on the Y, are they all season and good for winters? I have the 19s. I can tell you the 19s are all season for whatever that's worth. What was the depreciation of my Model 3? So that's a really great question. It's probably about 30% over 3 years, which is not bad. I mean, the last ICE, petrol powered vehicle I had prior to getting a Tesla was Infinity G37. Don't laugh. And I lost 30% in 1 year on that thing, probably a little bit more. We traded in that car for our Model X. So I do remember that the value on that thing plummeted. Okay. Yeah. So I was pretty, 30% after 3 years. That's not so bad. I did get a rebate on the Model 3 when I bought it. Province of Ontario had a $14,000 rebate. So all in all, I kind of made out like a bandit on that Model 3. So yeah, so Dennis had the same experience as me. Yeah, they just took the keys. They didn't really look at the car. So maybe that's because they have so much information on your car, right? Like, don't forget, they know everything about your car, right? And whether it's an accelerometer, like for example, if it's been hit, or like they would know all this stuff. So they probably don't. I don't know. They probably make a more efficient process by not having to worry about some of those bigger things. Can you get the digital car in Tesla to update if you got it a different color? I do not know. So I can tell you, I'm not sure if this is where you're going with that, but so in the app, I mean, it comes up the color that you ordered. Maybe you could clarify your question. I might not be understanding. Always record everything. You know, there's that's great advice. Okay, wait a minute. We have a question from someone who's driving an ICE today. Looking forward to his first EV, Model Y. Is it worth it? What are the pitfalls to know about? If you would have asked me that question 3 years ago, I would give you a different answer. 3 years ago, I would have said, well, you know, you got to consider range. You might get some range anxiety. And back then, the batteries had less capacity in terms of mileage. There weren't as many supercharger stations around. You fast forward to today, and I'm really struggling to come up with the drawbacks of moving to an EV. I think it's all positives. If you look at the Model Y, the range in kilometers is, you know, approaching 530. I think it's 529 officially, and there are superchargers everywhere. So range anxiety is 100% a thing of the past, and that to me is the biggest difference from 3 years ago. Everything I can't think of a drawback. You know, maybe the price is a little bit higher for acquisition than maybe for a comparable ICE vehicle, but over time you're going to recoup that through fuel savings, less maintenance. So it's all upside. Did Tesla allow higher trade for your software upgrades? I don't think they did. I was saying earlier in the live stream that the full self-driving has a very high acquisition cost when you buy it with the vehicle, but it seems to have a low resale value. So maybe one day those things will reconcile when, for example, full self-driving is out of beta and it's actually a real thing. Then I think you might see appreciation instead of depreciation on your vehicle. I know my buddy Motherfrunker, who's not in the chat here today, but he thinks that there's going to be an appreciation of vehicles with full self-driving versus a depreciation in value. So Model 3 tires. So this is a really great discussion. So tires do wear faster with a Tesla because the Tesla vehicles are heavier than comparably sized ICE vehicles. So they have to work harder. So I was getting about 40,000 kilometers on the tires that came with the vehicle. And same with the winters, you know, about 40,000 kilometers. And yeah, so tires are definitely an item that wear faster with an EV. That's definitely true. See, these things are scrolling pretty quickly now. Just looking for some more questions. We have a question about charging here. With the new battery tech, what's the best charging habits? 80% daily with maybe 100% once a month to balance cells. This is I think this is actually another really good change from 3 years ago where my answer would have been different. I mean, 3 years ago, there was Tesla itself was even saying different things, and Elon was tweeting different things about what kind of charging habits you should have. But my understanding today is that it doesn't really matter anymore. Dax, if you're still on the chat, I mean, we talked about this on your podcast recently as well, and if I look at the charging today, like on the Model Y, it says, you know, it has your daily requirements and then trip, which you would use occasionally when you need your maximum range. But I do believe that what Tesla has done is that when your charge is full, your battery's not actually full. I think it has headroom at the top, and it's also got room at the bottom. So back in the day, yeah, you had to be very concerned about your charging habits. And I think that was a long-winded way of saying you don't have to be as concerned today. So I typically charge, in terms of my habits, is I charge to 80%. Then if I'm going on a trip, I will, bump it up to 100. It just takes longer, right? To get to 100 takes a long time. Uh, Often I'll just stop at 95 and call it a day. Um, but yeah, I'm not concerned about the battery longevity as it relates to my charging habits. There's actually a Tesla rental car company that operates out of Nevada, and they've got some detailed stats on their battery degradation. And what seems to happen is that it gets to about 5% battery degradation and stays there. Um, that's typically what we're seeing in terms of the results. Okay, what do you think about winter tire and all-wheel drive dual motor Model 3 and Model Y? I always recommend winter tires. There's no substitute for a real winter tire. The rubber's softer. It's going to be able to grip the ice better than an all-season. That's just what I personally believe. Touchless, yeah. What? Yes, it was touchless in the sense that, yeah, I didn't shake hands with anybody. But you still had to go inside to get your rep, your delivery specialist, and then from there they left all the documents in the vehicle, and you could sign it all and just hand it back to them. Everybody's wearing masks. I did not feel unsafe. I think they took the necessary precautions as far as COVID-19 goes. Are the tires run flats? Anyone know the answer to that question? This question, I believe that they are, but I also recommend on Tesla's online store. And you probably get something similar at Amazon. They have a kit that you can buy for that instant tire repair, whatever it is. I keep one of those in each one of our Teslas. Oh, okay, wait. So Musk reckons 90% daily these days. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty consistent with what I've been hearing as well. And I think what's happened is that Tesla's accumulated a lot more data about their batteries over the last few years, and they're much more confident now, I think, with coming out and saying charge to 90 or even charge to 100. So when you have to, it's really not an issue anymore. Okay. Yeah, and this is the great point, right? It's less to me about what's going to happen with the battery longevity, and it's more about this. It's because it's really inefficient to charge above 90. So that's a really great point, Dennis. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm going to wrap up here, and thank you very much for joining me. If you have any further questions, you can always reach out to me at theteslacanuck@gmail.com. Don't hesitate. I enjoy helping people. If you have questions and I can help you, I'll do my best. Thank you for joining me today. And I really do appreciate you spending your time with me. Looks like there's one last question here. Do you use a Tesla wall charger or a third party one? I use the Tesla wall charger personally. It's worked really well for me. So Motherfunker, you always join when I'm wrapping up, buddy. All right, I really do need to wrap up. Thank you again, Tesla Canuck. Over and out.